Okay, hello. I missed last week's Kofi update. It was a combination of me being sick and also the customer I'm working with at my current employer visited for 3 days. So I just didn't have time for it because I need to be home alone and living in a relatively small apartment with my girlfriend and daughter. It's not that many times I get the time for myself. But that was a lot of fun. I really enjoy working with this customer because they are so laid back on their how they code and how they cooperate. Like, there are 3 guys and they work on this insane legacy project, which often kind of provokes me a little bit because they always tend to respect the users in a bad way. Like, they never challenge the users and they never ask, what do you really need? They kind of have always implemented everything and everything's a configuration, and it's just insane. But it's a very typical thing. I've been there myself. I learned a lot about how to develop the correct application, not only developing being a better developer, but actually developing the right thing. But it's a ton of fun, and we have a lot of fun together. And on the last day, there was a party at the office, and I got super drunk. And but luckily, when I get super drunk, I get into this coaching mode where I can tell everybody how much I appreciate them, and go to details about people that I've been reflecting upon. So with this, one of the developers from this customer, I told him how great of a leader he is because of the fact that he doesn't consider himself a leader and stuff like that. But yeah, and nice thing is I'm actually going to continue working for them until the end of June. So it's really nice of my employer to allow me to work 40% for them. Because then I get the best of both worlds. I get the consultancy part of it, which has a lot of positive sides. And then I also get to spend 1 day a week doing only open source. And then the other 2 days a week, I will start working on Code Sandbox. So that's awesome. What's kind of cool about this customer project is that it's kind of based on SVGs. It's like this whole process view thing with lots of details and SVGs and stuff. We've been talking about how should this ideally, they have tons of experience now, and if they're going to do something new, they have to radically change the approach. So we started talking about okay, so they have these users in the company building these process views, and they use Illustrator and SVGs. But it's kind of limited. You can't just create the whole thing as an SVG because you need to connect it to business rules and stuff. So we started talking about how can we allow them to still create the SVGs in Illustrator, but then have a separate tool where they actually build up the process view and connect the business rules and stuff. And then it occurred to me that SVGs aren't images, they are data. So if we take a look at this small proof of concept here, I can choose a file and I can choose an SVG. And what actually happens here is that I'm not showing the SVG that I loaded from my computer. I'm actually putting it inside a div in memory. So I create a div in memory and I insert the contents of the SVG, and then I traverse it like a DOM structure. And then I extract the details that are relevant for a data structure. And this kind of looks like React, where we grab the type of tag. We have children, and we instead of props, we have attributes. And what we can do with this data structure is that we can add stuff to it. We can add, maybe we want to allow you to click the different parts of the SVG and add transitions to it, connected to business rules, for example. So we can do that, and then we store this data structure on the server, and then we can create a process view or whatever, And that is based on only data. It's not images or anything, it's just data. And that would also allow us to not only render back to SVGs, but we can do like, since we have the data structure, we can render it to WebGL, for example. And we can do like crazy optimizations where we figure out what are the static parts of the SVG, what are the dynamic parts, and then we can optimize and can do tons of crazy stuff. But anyways, I just wanted to show you this proof of concept because it's really about thinking about SVGs as a data structure. And it just allows you to allow designers to work on how things should look. And then you can kind of like import that, convert it to a data structure, and then populate it. Anyways, I also worked on Cerebral, which was really nice. Like, there's not much moving around Overmind, which I'm actually super happy about. Like, it got a lot of attention in the beginning, but it's like, it's slowly gaining more traffic on the website. I get some questions from now and then and now and then. Anyways, now and then, yeah. And, but it's not like crazy. I actually do, it's been like really relaxing the last few days, which is really great. That's really what I want. And then I get time to work on what I really want to work on. So I would start working a bit on Cerebral, actually. I refactored the whole computed concept of Cerebral, or actually the whole reactive state management, because it was based on subscriptions. So like a view subscribed to like a watcher, and a computed could subscribe to a computer that subscribed to a computed. Instead of doing that, it's based on inheritance instead. So like a computed inherits the dependencies of any computeds it uses, and so on and so on. And it just makes it just, now it works how it's supposed to work. It's less code, and I think it runs faster as well. So yeah, that was really interesting to dive back into that code. And like Cerebral is a really nice project still. Like I think we went a little bit too far when we introduced this Babel plugin, because the point of Cerebral is to be like JavaScript, straightforward, just get into it. And if you have to set it up with a Bubble plugin, it starts getting, the threshold gets too high. But yeah, now it's just, I refactored the website as well, so remove that Bubble plugin. Now it's like JavaScript only. And then if you want to use TypeScript, you can do that, where you introduce the Bubble plugin. Yes. Cool. Also wanted to mention I did a podcast. Like, it's too bad it's in, well, it's fun that it's in Norwegian, but I can't share it with you if you don't understand Norwegian. I also started working on the dev tools of Overmind, because I'm going to refactor the UI there. It's time to get that up and running. So it's really intuitive, and I got some new features planned. So that's the focus on Overmind. I'm also going to pay my taxes today, which is going to be interesting, see how that works out. And I also got the confirmation that like you have two types of taxes you pay. You have like the taxes you pay to the state, and then you have value added tax, which is a tax you kind of like collect for the state. So when you create an invoice to a company, you add, like in Norway, you add 25%, which is like a company tax, which I collect for the state with my invoice, and then I pay that to the state. And then I can deduct my own expenses and stuff from that. But yeah, complicated. Well, not really complicated, but if you don't know it, it sounds complicated. But the good thing is when you invoice a company abroad that doesn't have any like operations in Norway, then you don't have to do this value added tax thing. Then you just have to make sure that you pay your taxes, which is really nice. So until the end of June, since I'm working with Code Sandbox, I don't have to pay any value added tax there. So all I have to care about this first few months is to pay my taxes. But yeah, I hope to talk more about how to like do freelancing, managing taxes and stuff, because I think people pay way too much money to get help with that. It's not that difficult. It just seems difficult. But yeah, that's for later. Cool. It's Friday. Looking forward to a weekend. Nothing happening. Going to buy some wine. We're going to eat some awesome food. We actually started the weekend yesterday. Ordered a pizza, drank some wine, just relaxing. We're going to do that through the whole weekend. Awesome. It's also the Division 2 is coming out today. I just bought Anthem. I bought Metro Exodus. I have a feeling I'm going to buy the Division 2 as well. Like I just play for an hour and then I get sick of it. But I kind of like paying for games because I think gaming is a great, as an industry, is something I want to support. I love playing games, even though it's just for an hour. But yeah, that's it for now. I'll talk to you later and have a great weekend.